Looks like we are hooked up and ready for takeoff. Children, how are we in the other room? Grandpa Ed is in. Stop laughing. Okay, good. Oh, Friday. What was that song I used to spin in the clubs? That's a horrible admission, right? I know. Yep. Used to do it. Worked on Friday nights, worked on Saturday nights, sometimes a special party on Sunday night. Would love that. Bigger cash. What did you make spinning? Did you spin like I did? If you spun for a living, did you spin? Did you have, I know you did. Thank you. Good. Thanks. No, I love a show of hands in the car. Just don't go off the road like that. Yeah, it's. I love to do it too. Don't you enjoy taking your hands off the wheel once in a while? Oh, God. Do you talk about it on a Friday? I think you do. It's topical news topics at noon. Mike in New Haven and Kelley somewhere in New Haven. I'm sure he'll be listening. Mike is going to be on at 1 o'clock. He's the biggest Stray Cats fan on planet Earth. So he's been, telling me about a show he's gone to. I love them. I had, wasn't Brian. I had the other guy on in L.A. Very nice guy. They, if they have wanted to, along the way, they could be working every single night since Stray Cat Blues came out, and they appeared on Saturday Night Live, I believe, all the way back then. Oh, it's Friday. Do we do bending and stretching, downward dog, Pilates? You got your mat. You got to roll out your mat, don't you? Do that. I'm too busy chasing mice around. That's what I do. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that at 1 o'clock. It is a little bit tough in the beginnings here of our syndicated effort. I would love to play for you like a ton of Stray Cats music. We will play some what they call fair use pieces, but that's about it because we're still working on our license for that. You got to pay for all that. If you want to play any band anytime on the air, you have to pay for that. And we like that. Ever since I first worked at an FM down the hall business, right? I've always had a rock station nearby. And the company would always have a blanket license for all the stations. So I could go into Terry Gibson or Bob Stroud's studio. Or the other day I saw a picture of Bobby Skafish, one of the great radio personalities in Chicago history. And what a lovely gentleman. You know, Bob Stroud, you felt like Bob Stroud was in the hallway. He just, he was not an imposing man to be around at all, but he was so perfectly attired. He was so perfectly groomed that people in Chicago recognized Bob Stroud all the time when he wasn't on the air. Radio guy. And, his picture it was not unusual to find it in the feature section of the paper or a magazine profile on how great it is to be Bob. Musical genius, number one. Number two, what I liked about him, for the 40 seconds I might share with him in the hallway, I loved his way with people was the same in the hallway as it was on the air. When you were around Bob and Bob Stroud stopped to say hello to you, it was a little like Arthur Godfrey, for my parents' generation. It was a little bit like, oh, man, here's my moment to he's giving me a great hello. I've got to reciprocate. Now you're in the building also with the great Jonathan Brandmeier and the legend Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer, his partner. Woof. So it really was like playing, it was like joining the Stones a little for Mick Taylor. Then Ronnie Wood kind of finally blended in because of his background and Rod Stewart and all. But yeah, it's pretty heady stuff when they also will recognize your show in conversation. Oh, yeah, I heard you the other night. You know, that was interesting. And you go, oh, my God, Bob Stroud listened? Or, well, Steve and Gary, because you're new when I joined at the station, you have to get your hazing a little bit. So I got Steve kind of gave a review of, in the beginning of, and I think it was, I don't know if this guy's going to make it. This guy, Ed Tyll, is he really going to make it here on the, did you hear him last night? So there was some of that, which was just an honor to be analyzed by one of the greats of American radio. You know, a lot of people my age bracket will put Steve in the exact same slot that Howard is in for his fans. And you go out on the West Coast and, you know, John and Ken are like, you know, it's an incredible thing. I love being around it. You know, some people at the Loop were a little bit standoffish, or they might grouse about that, as opposed to Alison Krauss. They might, they just, you know, would, to me it sounded, I'm not going to say who it was, it sounded like whining. I was like, aren't we just happy to play for the Cubs? It kind of like what that was, being on the Loop. You're playing for the Cubs. You know, it's an institution in the town. When you do well, that's good news. When you don't do well, people pull for you, and they tell you that you're going to do well. Yeah. Great. So, I know my friend Tom Schultz, and I know Steve from Cool. They know the Loop very well. The Loop is well. It's a station that, you know, if you know WABC in New York, that is a legendary radio station. I go so far back with WABC that it was WABC FM. They didn't even have separate call letters for it. They did, of course, introduce an FM. And they wanted to try to go up against WNEW, was an incredible artistic success. People would walk around New York, and the coolest of the cool things were to talk about either Allison Steele, the Nightbird, or to talk about the guy who did the Crest toothpaste commercials. Oh, my God, I can see his face. He was the morning man on NEW. It'll come to me. He's been gone so long, but he was the voice of Crest for so many of my childhood. All the years where I was thinking, boy, I bet Crest really is better for you. Boy, I bet Crest probably costs a few more pennies because Scott Muni, thank you. I don't know why I'm thanking you. I thought of it, but you were staring at me like, you know, you were working on it, so maybe you did help me. Maybe psychically. Oh, psychically. I'm doing with psyches. You know, it's funny, on Fridays, we used to have it. Maybe we'll do it again. I almost did it in Delaware, but you know what? I could not find. This was crazy to me. I could not find a horoscope person, a palm reader, a Ouija board expert. I couldn't find anybody in the paranormal to come on the Friday show. Yeah, you hear it, don't you? That's the Loratadine. I had to take some Claritin. Double Claritin. Well, he didn't cut it again for over 2 weeks outside. So what do you think is going to happen to me when you cut 2 weeks of grass? Exactly. I'm going to be run over like a tractor. I'm sneezing, and it's just, I keep manufacturing. Every time I think it's all done, there's more. It's the cut grass is wicked if you're allergic to it. I'm allergic to cut grass and goldenrod. Do you know what that is? Hey, I'm not talking about your old DVD collection with the wife. Good night, everybody. Goldenrod. That has to be some kind of James Bond sexual adventure, doesn't it? All right. So Mike is on at 1 about the stray cats. Friday in news. You know, what can I tell you about the news? Do you want me to go over it quickly? I will. But this is, to me, it's getting a little too Washingtonian, if you know what I mean, with the news. We need more news out of local community. Wow. You're getting hit hard, baby. You may need a second loratadine. It sounds. What is the red stuff they used to put on your cuts when you were a kid? It's in the medicine chest. Mercurochrome. Now you have a Chrome browser. But do you remember Corby? If Corby is listening, she knows Mercurochrome. But you know, they were all good-looking kids. Corby put up her graduation or confirmation or communion, whatever. What little angelic faces on these kids. The looks on their faces. So I went and found some old pictures last night, man. These are going to frighten people when I put them up there. But we got them. We got Morris Park neighborhood there, captured in awesome Tina Tyll and Edward Tyll Sr. photography. Yeah, my mom and dad did a great job. My dad had I didn't know this, he had an expensive Polaroid land camera. It was not an instant. He had Polaroid back in the day when you had to turn the film in. This is really going back, but a hell of a camera. Beautiful black and white images. So, got big news on the website. Yeah, you guys are going to like that. Especially you. You're always... You fancy yourself as a little bit of a web builder. I heard you blah, blah, blah the other day about, WordPress this and talking down my website. But it's being done, so forget it. Now, the new one is going to blow you into Kingdom Come, whatever that was. That old expression. No, you're going to love the new website. Look, here, if you go to edtyll.com right now, let's do this. Come on. Everybody's like, you got to mention the website. You got to talk about the Facebook. You have to directions for your humble host here today. All right, the edtyll.com. I have a Chrome on the phone. I don't know what you use on the phone. My girlfriend there, she's had a Galaxy forever, and I always say the same things to her. Karen, type in blah, 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 12345.com. Okay? I'll say, type that in. And 5 minutes later, I see her swiping, and for me, this is what I do. Now, I'm not a pro. She has, an expensive phone. She's on a group plan. Yeah, I don't know from any of that. I have no contract for 16 years, I think. 2003, is it? Something like that. I went to no contract, and my phone cost me $50, and I only replace them because I break them. I have never replaced a phone because it went out of tech. It was obsolete. I've never had an obsolete moment because with me they don't last, but I do have. Now on this guy, there is I got the heavy duty. You could drop it on the mountainside and it would be okay. And I have dropped it in this case, and it's great. So, whatever. I'm just saying, I'm saying this because people make too big a deal out of being online now. Are you online? I'm online 24/7. Okay, I never turn the phone off. I turn the phone to silent. That way I get all the missed calls. I make sure the robocalls are not getting me, the emails, the invitations, all the things that come in, left and right, up and down. You got to keep it on. But again, it's a $50 phone. I mean, it's not going to, this thing is not going to jump up, fly around the room and read the Constitution to you and explain the Bill of Rights. It's a good, solid computer and phone. Look at it. See, it's not even oversized. It's not even a phablet. Do you know what a phablet is? That's when your phone is so big, it might as well be a tablet. Yeah. No, it's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Another cup of coffee just dropped off at Studio Java. They even taken that word away. What did you do to that word? No, I don't want to go there. We'll talk about that on Monday when we talk about the other problems that technology says it solves, and it does not. Okie doke. So news headlines on a Friday are always the following. Newsrooms like to leave early just like everybody else. So what do you think they do? What do you think newsrooms do all of the time on Friday when they're going to leave early? They are less enterprising in their coverage. They, pardon the expression, but they do it. They cut corners. They do. They leave stuff out. They don't make the extra phone call. My girlfriend is downstairs. I just have to leave 20 minutes early. But did you call the White House? We have a quote here. Yeah, well, they said they're going to call us back. So I told Marianne to take the call for me. Oh, my God, that is disgusting. That is slipshod, to be generous. That's what slipshod journalism is like. And it gets worse and worse. I found a group photo of the Ed Tyll and the rest of his station colleagues from 1982. Oh, my God. I'm going to put that up on Facebook later today. We're playing do you play this game on Facebook? It's happening now. I've been sucked into this. Put up the most embarrassing photo you can find of yourself and then agonize publicly about how awkward and uncomfortable you feel looking at a picture you don't like of yourself. Do you play this? New game on Fridays. All right, so think you're good there. Think we're caught up. So, edtill.com. Go to the website right now, edtill.com. Are you with me? Are you on there? You hear the planes? We have a small airport nearby. This is a big plus when I got to get the heck out of Dodge in a hurry. Yes, you go to the little airport, you give them some money, and they fly you right out of there. Yeah. I've never done that until it dawned on me. I saw somebody doing it. I saw a couple, today's Friday, it was Wednesday. I'm coming home from Best Buy. When they close at 10, or I think they close at 9. So I'm coming home. Best Buy had just closed. And this couple is blasting the, I think they were playing Devo, as a matter of fact. Good record, good music choice. We Are Not Men. We Are Devo. And then the other one I like is We Do What We Do. I think they were playing Do What We Do. They're bouncing out of the car, and I'm thinking, oof, I wonder if they're going to be a road hazard for me. Then they make this hard turn on Airport Road. And I look up and I go, Airport Road? We are not near the airport. And sure enough, we are. We're near, way out in the middle of Bajip. Probably going to get a letter of complaint about that old expression. Do you know what that means? Bajip? I'm out in the middle of Bajip. Yeah. Means you're far away from anything. Do I have to have this on so if anybody calls, you're not gonna flip out like yesterday? You lost that call yesterday. It's a good thing I got that call back. Yesterday's show was our first since this started, noon to 3, edtill.com, less than a month ago. First day yesterday, all phone calls, all incoming for the entire show. We didn't do any of our show. The audience did the show, which is great. I'd rather have their show than my show any day. They always say the opposite. No. Tell us what you found. Tell us what you want to talk about. Tell us what you don't think is, they want to hear the whole schlemiel. Okay. I don't mind doing it. It's fine with me. But I always wonder if it's really interesting or they're just egging me on to see if I'll do it. Sometimes you get like that with people. Oh, come on, Uncle Louie. Who's in the 7th race? You don't care about the 7th race. You just want to hear him go through his analysis of the race. So I think sometimes that might be happening here. And he's cutting more grass right outside the window. I stand no hope here. This is no choice. I got to take more loratadine? Oh, man. You're filling me up with your pharmaceuticals, okay? I'm not into pharmaceuticals. I like coffee is in the news today. There's your trending news topic at noon. Trending news topics at noon with Ed Tyll. Okay. Did you get out your phone? Get on the thing? Okay. Type in edtyll.com. Again, if I asked Karen to do this, it would take 20 minutes. I don't get it. You have a smartphone. Just hit the browser and type in at the top of the browser, edtyll.com. Boom. Oh, and don't spill this. Okay, so when you do that, do you love it? I love it. That's what I love right there. So you and I, we don't need anybody now. Now, and I love everybody. But even the people I love, maybe you don't need them now. Have you ever said, you know what, I could love you more because I don't need you? The fact that I don't need you, now I really love you. You look very attractive to me. Oh, my God, this coffee is so delicious today. How could chock-full nut still be that good? Boy, he's really cutting that grass. I feel the grass cuttings bouncing off the wall of the building. That's how close that apparatus is right now. Is he driving that thing around out there? Yeah, it does. It sounds like he's at the Indy 500 or he's at Le Mans. You want to say Le Mans when you're a kid, but they go, no, it's Le Mans. And you go, it's too stuffy for me. If you people have to put an extra S on there, you could at least allow me to enunciate it. Creeps. Frog. All right, so you're on there. Are you on there? I gave you plenty of time. See, I gave you like as much. That's how long Karen needs to get on a thing. You type it in. Now, I'll show you how fast I do it. Okay, this is me. I was asking you to do it, but I'm going to do it now. This is what it's meant to be. The experience goes like this. EDTYLL. Yeah, if you can only see what you were doing. LL. There it is. Boom. See, it even happens. You don't even have to finish. It finishes itself. I think I told you. Facebook put a dialer on my page. I didn't even ask for it. They're like, Ed Tyll, this is Facebook artificial intelligence. We've stolen every fact about you. We thought we would throw you some crumbs. Here's a dialer for your little radio show. Thank you. All right, so you go to edtyll.com. What are you saying? Loratadine. We should be doing an ad for Claritin. Over the counter, of course. You go to edtyll.com. You see listen. So the first thing you do on our website is listen. Do you see that? Just go there on your phone. The word listen, and boom, you're listening. That could be it. What if that was the only thing on the website? People hate that, right? What? Your website doesn't do anything. Your website is terrible. Your website has no SEO, search engine. Oh, shut it. Shove it. Stuff it. I don't want to know. Kelley is laughing at me right now. Many people are in the web world because they know all this. They know what it does. But I am not done. I'm just mocking my own having to learn this, which I did. All right, so you go there. This is our old website today. You're looking at the old one. The new one is with the website builder. But this one, I put together, I tightened up this website last night. I was up until about 3:30 in the morning trimming this website that you're looking at, the old one. Because when the new one is given to us, before it goes online, we're going to do a comparison item by item. So what you're seeing right now is exactly what we want you to have. The reason that we're doing a new website is we're not crazy about the way this info on here actually operates for you. I think the stuff that is on edtyll.com today, which when you type in, people get crazy about this. I don't even care about it, so I never mention it. You type in edtyll.com. We're getting you used to that. When you get to the website itself, it says Ed Tyll Show. Don't worry about that. It's all the same thing. We're all in it together. So you're okay with that. But I wanted to say, people have already said to me, hey, what the... I say, don't worry about it. Okay. Eventually, when the new site takes over, it'll only be edtyll.com is all you'll ever need. But right now, that's all you need. It's all you need to listen today. So, Genevieve, love you. Oh, my God. My Aunt Florence. And I feel like calling her Aunt Genevieve, but she's not my aunt. She's my aunt's friend from childhood. And we had such a nice conversation on the Facebook chatter, whatever it's called, that little tool. I love it. They make you feel like you're in the room with a Genevieve. And even her name, don't you love her name, Genevieve? Who's Genevieve anymore? Now, it's not Guinevere, because Guinevere is the Crosby, Stills, and Nash song. But Genevieve is almost like Guinevere. You know, it's got a beautiful melody. You like saying it. And she's a lovely gal, Genevieve. That's all I can say. I'm lucky to have grown up in a neighborhood where so many people knew me. If you go into today's world... And the number of people that know the kids down the street and who they are, what they do, and mom and dad, and what bicycle is theirs, and they like roller skating, and this one doesn't, and this one's always got a piece of chalk and doesn't, and the other one plays, ace, king, queen up against the wall, and the other. This is the way it was. Loved it. I don't know. We had no idea how lucky we were. We had no idea that, this whole thing with Hillary, it takes a village. What do you do? Why do you have to take over it? Why do you have to put a name and a thing? Couldn't you just Everybody does it their own way. Nobody wants to be told by you. This is what I think it kept her from office. She does have a thing. I have a little bit of this, but she's got it a lot. You can't go around correcting everybody all the time and then expect to be popular. You may be the head corrector, and people may come to you with corrections, but you're not going to be at the picnic. They don't want the corrector-in-chief. Now, if you bring Trump to the picnic... Everybody wants him there, unless they hate him. But even if they hate him, they'll be from across the playground or across the picnic area. They'll be watching because he's going to bring, stuff to eat. He's going to bring interesting people. He's going to have, it's going to be a thing with him. But then again, if you hate him, it's great because you could sit across 500 feet away, 1,000 feet away, a mile away, and you could suffer. He gives you something to do. You're sitting there and you're worried about the world and the climate change and the racism and the transgender and it's all happening. And Beyonce at the Super Bowl is still bothering you. And it's all happening every day. And you don't know, you don't feel good about who you are, what you are, how do you walk, how do you talk, you don't know, do you have cancer, do you have radiation poisoning, are we on Mars, you don't know. Every day they're hitting you, boom, boom, boom. So those people, they're always upset. They don't know what it means to exhale and relax. His crowd, on the other hand, if you look at these votes when they come out in 2020 is going to be hilarious for me. I am going to have the best fun. But when you look at how it all plays out, when people actually vote, it looks like this is who votes for Trump. They're going to church on Sunday. Don't get in their way. And you better be ready to stay at church for a while. Don't think it's like Catholic Mass. Catholic Mass, they've really trimmed it up and people are getting out of there in 35 minutes. No go. That is not a spiritual reconnection. If you are going to church on Sunday, it should be at least a clock hour with the Lord. Then you've got to go to the flock. You must be part of the ministry. You must go out and have goodwill on the steps. shake with everybody. Now, be careful with the shaking and hugging. There's a way to shake with strangers. It's not that we don't like them. We love them, but they can be full of germs. Everybody has different germs. Do you know that? Everybody's got different likelihood of catching a germ. What do they call that when you have it's not aptitude, but there's something about you where you're likely to catch that thing. So what you do on church steps is very simple. You extend yourself. You don't lean in and put your whole torso and start breathing with your lungs and your rib cage all over people. What are you, crazy? Come on, man. You know, that's probably a venal sin right there, getting somebody sick. You're costing them money, and you're costing them you could put them in danger of greater ill health. Shh. Yeah, stop. Just knock it off. You don't want to be hugging and kissing randomly. You know what I like to call it? People hate this when I flip this word around, but I'm good. You know, in honor of John Lennon and wordplay and everything else. I'm having some coffee. It's Friday. I take a break whenever I want for my own regroupishment. No. And now that if you're going to keep talking to my ear, how am I going to finish? Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. Okay, but I said that earlier. So imagine what life would be like if you picked things up on the first time I said them. Wow. We'd already be into Tuesday's show, wouldn't we? The amount of energy we've expended on a Friday show, we're 34 minutes into the 3-hour show. Yeah. Brilliant. It's brilliant. You guys are brilliant. No, I don't want to do that, but I do want to make sure those phones are open, okay? Yeah. Just make sure. I want it set up, not that the audience needs to hear all the. I want this thing set up that I'm going to hear the very first ring. I don't want to go with this visual only. The other day, you're sitting there, you're not paying any attention. Yeah, I need to hear it the same time you see it. That way, if you're on your typical Generation Z, slow on the, the length of time that it takes you to orient when your head wheels like it is right now. Yeah, exactly. To do this, it takes way too much of your focus. You have got to learn how to do this and chew gum at the same time. You've heard this expression. All right, so Mike is coming up at 1. I'm loving that. We're going to do Stray Cats. All right, are you on the website? How many times have I said please? Yeah. So what I want you to do, what we all want you to do, it's a favor to the show that you would do this, is get on the website and scroll down, would you? Listen is the first item. Follow us on Twitter, second item. You got a little button there, so use the button. The next one is podcasts. We went with plural on this, right? Right, because I think every time you do one, every time you take a recording, I guess this is what Are you serious? Oh, you're funny. So the website turns on the, that was the website turning on without me turning it on. All right, that's good. Autoplay. Is that what you call it? All right, you know what? It's fine. Everything's going great. So what we want people to do, not that you care about this over there. Why don't you go back to that? Just work on Monday. Don't really come back on this side. Yeah, stay on that task until Monday is done. Thanks. You're scrolling down the website for the 100th time. And they said, well, podcast or podcasts. I said, well, we're trying to get the fewest number of characters in there, right? We want we want it to be the easiest to navigate. I say a podcast is enough. the podcast. You hear the Joe Rogan podcast, the Ed Tyll podcast, the Michael Harrison podcast. When we were at Delaware 105.9, Dan was the best, Susan second best, and probably by now Rob does it like lightning. But they would be encouraging us to podcast all segments. That phone call, that series of calls, that topic, that pitch. A lot of podcasting going on there. I, like you, I love to go back and hear a show that I've heard before. I will, on Sunday, many times on the Sunday shows, watch them a second time. Pick up more second time around. Love that. I think it's much easier what we do. So here's what it says. It says the word podcasts, meaning every time we post one, that is, in fact, a podcast of its own. Whatever. Sounds a little redundant to me. The podcast is very important now. This is a recording of the show. Very important to people. Next thing is topics. Next thing is guests. Next thing is comedy. Next thing is phone calls. And you get a bunch of those. After you get all that, then you get recent shows, which is kind of like the podcast, but the recent shows are the shows we like the most recently, our favorites. So we got a bunch of those. Then we're going to see how this works with people. There's a video on here of my politically incorrect stand-up comedy club act. It's only a small bit. I think it's got a couple of punchlines in it, three in there. It's about a minute. The rule is you're supposed to get a laugh every 15 seconds in comedy. I think we're a little ahead on this clip. So we're going to, I'm not going to even, you know what? It's there. Take a look and see what you think. That's all. I'm not going to say it. Too much information. Yes, we're going back on stand-up comedy tour, but I can't, we've got the website coming. We got the comedy. We got a lot of things going on. Public speaking. All right, so just back off, boogaloo, one thing at a time. Can we go back to the website? Thanks. You have not heard me say a word about the breaks. We've hit them on time. How about them apples? Who says old Uncle Ed? Genevieve, they think I'm old. Yeah. This is a new thing today with the kids, Generation Z. Oh, well, you're so old. I go, you're so young. And they go, yeah. Genevieve, we love being old. I love being this age. I always thought the perfect age is the age that you're at. Isn't that the perfect age? I used to ask my mom and dad all the time, what's it like to be 70? What's it like to be 75? And, they would laugh when you ask. It was a silly question. What do you mean, what is it like? It is what it is. There's no way to describe that. There's no adjective in the Roget's thesaurus for that. You're going to have to actually experience it. My mom would say, oh, Edward, you can't write that one up. My mom used to think I was very much a writer-upper. I would like to get, so what is the bottom line on a subject? Whether we're talking about the Yankees or we're talking about the garbage strike when I was a kid, Mayor Lindsay. Whatever the subject was, I would try to get to. So we didn't use the word bottom line. When I was a kid, the phrase was, so it comes down to what? That's how I used to say it as a kid to teachers. So it comes down to what? That's it. Like, at a certain age that everybody knows what the real problem is. And I was always writing up what it really was. I didn't want to hear what everybody thought it was. I thought that was always going to delay us from getting a solution. Could we get right to the point? And people do not like that. I remember when I was young, in my 20s, it was insufferable. I couldn't be around anybody who was over 40. They talk too slow for me. They move too slow. You ever hang around people on an important project, but you have to be with them for like half a day? Maybe you're researching at their office, going through their files, whatever. You're forced together on a project. And you realize that the two of you have opposite styles of working. And it's infuriating when you're working to get an answer and somebody says, "Oh, that's great. When we come back on Monday, I'm gonna get to that Monday afternoon." You go, "Can't you take a look at it right now? Don't you have a minute?" "Oh no, right now I can't. I can't do." People will say stuff like, "Well, I can't do that right now." You say, "What are you talking about? Just click on the thing. It's on your computer, man." Yes, you can. Could you lean out of the way and I'll be you at your desk and I'll check it? No. We'll do that on Monday. We're way ahead of schedule. No, it's not about the schedule. It's about getting it done. It's not done. Friday has come and it's not done. Oh, yeah, well, all right, so I'm leaving early today. My kids got a thing at a soccer event with my wife's other in-laws getting braces. I got to hit Walmart on the... You just want to strangle them and go, "What is wrong with you? Don't you want to be a champion? Don't you want to drive to the hoop and stuff it in there like LeBron?" I watched, he's getting old now, but when he's alone on the court and he's just showing off, it is fun to watch. So I saw him the other day. I guess he went to his kid's game. His kid did well, but he got all excited. He jumped on the court. He starts doing all these wacky, crazy dunking moves. And I was like, "Oh, my God, that's why he's great." But then I said, "Oh, look, he's alone out there." It is interesting when the pressure is not on, how much fun you can have when you're doing stuff like that. So you got to keep that in mind here and transplant that to us. When we're doing our thing, we're in the zone. There really isn't time for all this other extraneous stuff. We're just doing it. It's just happening for us. Yeah. You don't know about this because you're Generation Z. And the other, you're technically a millennial, but, that's another art. Look, I'm technically in between, too. I'm numerically, you have to call me a baby boomer from the year. But the experience, I'm telling you, the people who went to Woodstock are much older than me. They were driving. I was not. We talked about my close call. Just put it there. I'm on live. Just leave it there. Come on. Delicious, though. I have to say, I'm glad you came in with it. So last night in the news, you got your phone out? Are you on edtyll.com? So scroll all the way through, find the stuff, and here's what I want you to do. Anything you don't like or is unnecessary on the site, let me know. I would like to cut that site about 25% of what you see. And I think we can. As far as I'm concerned, you see all those boxes on there, all those videos? I believe that we should only have a dozen on the whole thing, and we're way up over a dozen. I don't know if we're going to get back to a dozen, but you tell me which ones. The follow and like and social media stuff is actually not taking up that much room. That was, that was a good thing. But there are things there, so let us know. Now, the new site, I'm thinking a week from Monday. We'll see. Could be 2 weeks, but could be a week from Monday. The new logo has been freshened up. It's even cleaner and sleeker. Peter Dama, I have to give him so many big props for helping us. Peter created our first logo back in, I think it was 2009, 2010. And it's an amazing logo. It's a logo I will never lose the vibe. But we're every 10 or so years, you just want to make sure that the new people coming on board are going to like it. So I think if you have seen the logo for many, many years, you may not even recognize the big difference or the subtle differences when it hits. But yeah, it's going to be good. So anyway, it's all there, and yeah, so my stand-up comedy act is there. Also, my appearance on CNN is on there. The Lisa Gibbons show, did that a couple of times. That's on there. Then I crossed paths many years ago with Bill Maher. Bill Maher was leaving ABC. He had a show on ABC. It was called Politically Incorrect. Loved the show at the time. He's an interesting guy. He's sometimes, to me, relevant and has, picks up on good. Other times he's kind of silly. He's a Hollywood guy. He's done a lot of dumb comedy, but I'm sure he made some good coin off of it. Films. He's in a couple of good, comedy movies. He just doesn't have lead roles and stuff, but he's been around a long time. Funny guy, smart guy. Not relevant to me in the last couple of years, but it's okay. It's been hard. It's been very difficult for people who entertain for a living with current events and some kind of chip on their shoulder. It's been a tough couple of years for people who are uncomfortable with Trump. If you love having Trump to work with as a comedian, a talk show host, a writer, a novelist, anything, it's a joy every day to see the pinball machine of society going off because of this guy. I love that. Come on, man. If we're not doing it like this, bang, bang, boom, boom, then we're not doing it. So I love it, personally. For me, makes it much more interesting than when things are, quote-unquote, going great under Obama. Do you remember what the Obama era was like? There was nothing to talk about days on end. He just was nowhere to be found. I don't know what he did. Trump is out in public at all times. You always, this guy's work. If Trump worked at your warehouse, you would have no trouble finding him. He's always in the middle of, we're changing the entire shelf situation and we're saving money and we're getting rid of. He's that guy. Big projects all the time. So to me, fantastically interesting. To people who are under siege from him, he's ruining you, your children, your livelihood, your whole raison d'etre. That's not the right way to say it. It's reason for living, in famous phrase. Your entire reason for being, not for living, but for being, I think is the translation. The raison d'etre, I think is the way you say it. Yeah, they're lost. They don't even know what to do. At least you and I can work with this. And, we humor these people once in a while. There's too much energy helping or being frustrated with people not getting you. 10, 15 years ago in America, people didn't get you. You left the room. That was the end of that. Hey, they don't get me. I don't get them. Good night, everybody. Today, somebody doesn't get you. What did they call you? How did they look at you? Who do they support? Who are they married to? What does their wife do? What did their kid say? Whose gender? It is radioactive. Do you want that? I don't want that. Yeah. Do you want to sit around with people and listen to this dialogue? Like, you call this hanging around with people? Do you call this good, healthy hangout? Go be with your friends. Go out there and have a good time. Blow off some steam on a Friday. How are you going to do that in this matrix of, I'm so sensitive, anything you say, my